Hi, this is your Chief Science Officer, Brazos, Minshew. Welcome to Wellness Talk. Today, we are so privileged to have Sharon Gwozdek come back and visit us again and talk about allergies again. As you might remember, Sharon is the director of the Allergy and Environmental Treatment Center right here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And she promised to come back and chat with us a little bit about indoor allergies and some of the consequences of allergies that we might be thinking belong somewhere else. So once again, Sharon, welcome back to our program.
Thank you, Brazos. Glad to be here.
Okay, well, you promised to tell us a little bit about indoor allergies. Give us kind of the top synopsis of what they are and how we can know we might have that problem.
Well, some of the indoor allergens are pet danders, dust mites, chemicals, exposure to molds. Those are some of your common ones.
Now, I've heard about dust mites, right?
Yes.
And skin mites, is that right?
Right. And these are, little microscopic organisms, and they can have a tremendous effect on the immune system.
And where would we be exposed to them?
Don't
tell me my pillow.
Oh, yes, your pillow, Brazos. You may need to rethink that pillow. Also carpeting, heavy drapery, fabrics. Those are some of the sources.
Wow.
And it's interesting. Children have a lot of stuffed toys, stuffed animals. Those are sources of dust mites.
Wow. So how often do I have to change my pillow?
Well, it's keeping it really clean, maybe washing and having a barrier cloth over it.
Put the barrier cloth on,
Correct.
and I don't have to replace it quite so often.
That's correct.
Excellent, because I'm pretty jealous of my pillow.
Well, yes, I heard you're pretty attached to it.
Yeah, you can take away the stuffed toys, you can take away the animals, you can take away the carpet, but I'm pretty attached to my pillow. Yeah. Sleep is one of the essentials of wellness, so we need to make sure that we're comfortable for sleeping. And I'm assuming then the mattress that you're sleeping on might also have some issues.
Absolutely.
Maybe
Yes, if you want to make sure that you have 100% organic barrier cloth over it, that helps in terms of reducing the exposure to dust mites.
the dust mites, and that's the big thing, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, very good, very good. You also mentioned some of the other common chemicals that we have, like in our drapes, but also in our carpet.
Yes.
Now, is carpet also, beyond being a place for dust mites to gather, are there also other issues that we deal with?
Sure, absolutely. If it's a new carpet, we have exposure to chemicals. We track things in all the time. Even on our shoes, we have, pesticides from the outdoors, dust, even pollens, and we track that in. And sometimes we can't figure out what's causing our allergies.
Yeah. So I think the Japanese custom of taking your shoes off when you come in the house.
Very wise.
Yeah. Also, we used to give the admonition to people who back in Dallas, where we had lots and lots of allergies, that when they would come in all loaded down with pollen, the first thing is take a nice hot shower and get all that stuff off of you.
Yes. And sometimes even if you take a shower, people may not wash their hair and still be reacting because we have pollen in our hair.
Wow. Isn't that incredible how these things sneak up on us?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are the most common symptoms of?
Fatigue. We hear so often how fatigued or I'm tired. I can't seem to get my energy.
Even more than sneezing?
Yes, absolutely. Even, it's interesting, foods. Foods can affect our fatigue levels.
And in what way?
We tend to eat the same foods over and over. It's quick, it's easy, but we don't realize what a stress that puts on our immune system.
So give me one good example of a fatigue-causing food that we might eat again. Wheat. Okay.
And Brazos, think about how much wheat is found in our food products. We have crackers, breads, pastas. It's even in licorice, ice creams.
We can't eat licorice and ice cream without getting wheat?
Wheat-free.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. Now, I've heard a lot about the gluten sensitivity. Is there problems with wheat beyond gluten?
For some folks, gluten can be an issue, which covers a greater scope. For example, your gluten foods are oats, rye, barley, spelt kamut, and your wheat.
Wow, that's almost everything.
Well, and what we want to look at, some different grains, millet, amaranth, quinoa, and some folks may not realize that these are great alternatives to our diet. It's a grain that's very tiny, and when you cook it up, it has more of a creamy type texture to it.
Cream of wheat.
Similar to it.
Okay.
And it's great flavor.
Now, how about buckwheat?
Buckwheat is non-gluten, and it's confusing because the term wheat, people think that this is related to wheat, non-related.
Unrelated.
Correct.
Yeah, and in fact, it's not a grain at all, is it? I heard it's a fruit.
Yes.
Yeah, incredible. So those are some of the things that can actually create the problems, wheat being probably number one,
Right.
would you say?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, do you have a top 5 list, or do you think
I really do. You know, corn is huge. And
corn?
Yes, and when we test people, people will say, well, I don't eat corn. Corn is found in so many products as corn oil, as corn syrups, sometimes forms of dextrose. All of these additions of corn can create a stress to the immune system.
Wow. And do you think that's because of the overuse of that again,
Yes, the
or
overuse.
the nature?
Yes, it's the overuse. And our goal is to make sure we're not eating a food more than every 4 days.
Every 4 days?
Yes.
Okay, that gives us some guidelines on that. So if you had something like, what would you recommend? Like if you had an apple on Monday?
Don't have it again until Friday.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
If you had chocolate on Tuesday?
Have chocolate on Saturday.
Okay, very good. You heard that prescription, chocolate on Saturday.
Dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah, very good, very good. So the symptoms are commonly fatigue. That's the number one symptom.
Migraines.
Migraines.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
GI symptoms. Maybe, we may experience a little diarrhea or constipation, skin problems. All of these can be food-related symptoms.
Bloating.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And in our top 5 list, we've got wheat and corn.
Soy. Baker's yeast, brewer's yeast.
Brewer's yeast.
Brewer's yeast is a
Beer
form
and
of
wine, right?
Yes, and also vinegar. And think about all our condiments.
Yes.
Vinegar, salad dressings have vinegar.
They're all vinegar-based.
Correct, yes.
Wow. How do you get away from something like that?
Well, if you see vinegar, replace it with lemon juice. So, for example, great salad dressing would be lemon juice, olive oil, and minced garlic.
Oh, very good. And garlic's not something high on the allergy list, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, very good.
It's a great therapeutic aid.
Okay, so we've got wheat, corn,
baker's yeast, brewer's yeast, and soy.
And soy, that was the other one. Yeah, soy. Now, we see soy in a lot of stuff, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course, soy sauce.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Miso soup.
Right, correct. Soy is used it has a smoothing effect on foods. So that's why it's used in a lot of food products. But once again, our goal is to make sure we're rotating our foods every 4 days.
Okay. There was a time that we had used a fermented soy inside of a nutritional drink that we had at TriVita. We've changed that over to a rice-based and pea-based protein.
Wonderful.
Along with mesquite flour and chia seeds.
Okay.
Yeah, so we find that gives us all of the complement of amino acids we need, plus the omega-3 essential fatty acids. So that's pretty cool too. So among the things that we were also wanting to talk about now was the testing procedure that a person might go through if they suspected that they had allergies. So if someone comes into your office, what is it typically they're going to experience?
Well, what they would experience would be a very lengthy allergy testing process because we try to be very precise in pinpointing those allergies. We test under the first few layers of the skin. We want to look for what happens under the skin, any symptoms, and what we call delayed reactions. Brazos was really interesting during my years of treating allergies. People come in with more and more suppressed immune systems. We don't necessarily see immediate reactions. And sometimes those reactions don't show up till the next day, which means a person is sensitive, but it doesn't show up till a little later on.
Interesting. So it's not something that you might, for example, if you ate something you were allergic to, you may not notice the difference today.
Exactly. And people wonder, well, what did I just eat for lunch? It may have not what you had lunch today, but it could have been yesterday.
Or the day before?
Correct.
Or how long do you
4
think?
days.
4 days. Well, yeah, we're back to that 4 day
absolutely.
thing. Yeah, okay,
yes.
Very good, very good. I read a book once called Brain Allergies back in the 1980s. Yeah, that shows how old I am. And they were talking about how the symptoms that we wouldn't normally even associate, for example, things like migraines, that's what triggered that thought, but also seizures.
Yes.
And even psychiatric disorders associated with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder can be related to allergies.
Exactly.
Do you ever see that?
Absolutely. And with children, hyperactivity.
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely, yes.
Yeah, we talked about how Dr. Ray was associating one source of that with crawling on carpet, teaching children to crawl on carpet that was laden with all these chemicals and formaldehyde.
Yes.
Right? Are there foods that kids are allergic to more so than adults?
The typical one I've noticed is corn. because it's in candies, cookies, cakes, those types of foods.
So corn is a big one.
Yes, it is.
Very good. And we'd also talked about the issue of fatigue being the number one issue, even more so than skin reactions, allergic rhinitis, sinus reactions.
Absolutely. You know, Brazos, what I've also noticed is this. Sometimes we will eat foods that cause problems like in the evening, and we're reacting all night, so we don't get a restful sleep. It's fitful. And we wake up feeling tired. So if we're waking up feeling tired, exposed to those dust mites, our day's not going to start well.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So you have to actually go back, not just for what happened at night, but what might have happened the day prior to that.
Absolutely.
Wow, very good. Okay, well, among the things that we have talked about are ways that we can build up our bulwark, our resistance against allergies. So we've talked about nutrients like vitamin C to get rid of the histamines. And one of the recommendations that I've made for a good long time is a teaspoon of vitamin C crystals in the morning and a tablet of vitamin C right at bedtime to help protect you through the night. And then finally, we've talked about vitamin B12. And to me, the most interesting part of the research into vitamin B12 was that if you have enough, and there seems to be a threshold beyond 2 milligrams of vitamin B12, and most people seem to feel the benefit around 3 milligrams, but beyond 2 milligrams, it begins to act as powerfully as prescription antihistamines. And yet, in the second year of the trial, the people who were on prescription antihistamines needed more. The people who were taking B12 when they needed it were actually having to take less. So it's actually not only working to erase the fatigue, but working also to eliminate some of the core issues of allergy, which would be the detoxification process through the methylation cycle. Yeah. So what a toxic world we live in. No end in sight. Right?
No, but I'll tell you, it's a work in progress.
Okay, very good. We'll continue to work.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with me once again. This has
me.
been absolutely awesome. And thank you all for your great attention to these wonderful programs. But remember, health only comes from healthy habits practiced every day. Let's make sure and practice the 10 essentials for wellness, and have a great day.